Thank you so much, Howard. Delicious as always. Well, with the summer coming to a close and most kids back to school, many families are evaluating technology needs as kids enter their new grades or head off to college. And let's be real, smartphones play a big role in all of this. But when is the right time to give your child a smartphone? T-Mobile expert Steve Carlson joins us this morning with all the answers. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Courtney. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And again, this is a big decision. When should I give my child a phone? Because this opens so many doorways for them to have access to.
Absolutely. It's a new level of freedom and responsibility for them. And for back to school, that's the time of the year when a lot of families are evaluating that. And we found out through a survey that about 83 or 85% of parents got their kids a smartphone by the time they were 13, which means some got them sooner than that. But for a lot of families, they need to make that choice themselves. What is that right age? And for some, maybe a phone is a good idea, but not a smartphone. So maybe a feature phone like those flip phones we had 15 years ago that were even a challenge to text message on. So they're a great tool if you just want to be able to talk to your kid in an emergency. If you're on the fence and you're not really sure, PBS Parents has some questions to ask yourself. One of which being, is there a safety or a social reason why my child needs a phone? Can I trust them to follow the screen time rules that we have in the house? And lastly, can they be responsible enough not only to take care of a phone, but to not get distracted by it in school or talk to people that they shouldn't be?
And for teens, this is a way of life. Walking through high school, they have their phones in their hands, and many of the schools now allow the kids to have their phones in class. So there has to be a way where they are able to have these phones, but tools available to help them keep out of harm's way, because there's a lot of craziness out there.
Totally. And the good news is a lot of those tools are built right into smartphones today. Apple and Android phones have parental controls built right in where you can set content filters. Additionally, there are services like T-Mobile's Family Mode where you can control all of the family's devices right on the parents' phones, so they can set additional content filters. They can also restrict app purchases. They can set screen time rules. So for instance, if it's dinner time or bedtime, the family can just turn off all the devices right at once. And there's even a real-time location tracker built right in, so you can see the location of all the family's devices right in one spot.
Oh, see, that's nice, and it still gives your children the freedom to feel as if they're on their own, but really you're keeping an eye on them. And
Totally.
Steve, I know you brought with us today many new quality tech products. What do you got for us?
Sure. Back to school is also a very popular time of the year for families to consider switching carriers because there are lots of promos going on. Everyone's got a deal somewhere. And Apple's usually introducing new iPhones around this time of year. So if you want to get your child a new smartphone, but you don't want to spend the $700 to $1,000 to do so, there are budget-friendly phones like T-Mobile's got the Samsung Galaxy A10e and the T-Mobile Revelry for $200 or less. Metro by T-Mobile's offering the iPhone 7 for just $50.
Nice.
And check with your carrier because they probably have deals too.
And we love a good deal, Steve.
Yeah.
We can't turn down a good deal. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
Where can we go for more information if we want to purchase one of these phones?
Sure. Stop by your closest T-Mobile store or visit us at T-Mobile.com.
Awesome. Steve, thank you so much. These are things to think about, and you don't want to deprive your teens from the phone, but you also want them to be safe and protected. So these are all good things to know. Well, that's all we have.